Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Stay, this is Coloring Bliss, and today we're going to see if we think that Sharpie is copying Zebra and their beautiful Mildliner pens. What do you think? Just off the top, what do you think? I've got Steve here, my business partner and husband, and he's going to give some thoughts as well of what he thinks. Are they copying? Is Sharpie copying?
Right now it looks like they might be.
Yeah. And if they are copying, then which set should you buy? Which one's more expensive? Who has the most colors? So much to dive into. Let's get started with Sharpie versus Zebra. So back in 2020, we did a video all about the Mildliners and my attempt to collect them, and we talked about the Japanese market and how to tell what color name you had on your Mildliner pen. We did a whole video, so I'll put a link to that video. Now it's 2023, and recently in a subscription box, I received a pack of new colors for the Mildliners, and I was so excited and realized that there were even more colors that I needed to collect so that I could satisfy my full set syndrome and have all of the colors of the Mildliner, both the highlighters and the brush pens. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. So as I was diving in and purchasing more of these beautiful pens, I discovered Sharpie, that they were creating a product that looks almost identical to the Mildliner Zebra pens. They're obviously trying to get the same clientele.
Yeah, to compete with them.
Yeah, so how do we know if Sharpies are better, which one's cheaper? That's what we're going to discover together here. And I have a surprise for everybody who collects Mildliners, an updated chart with all the new colors. Because you see, now there are 35 colors in the highlighter range. Look at them all. We're going to swatch them together and see them. And there are now 25 colors in the brush pen side. Now, what's the difference between the highlighters and brush pens? Let's look at those first off and see what the difference is between those two lines in Zebra, and then we will open these up and see, are they as good as our beautiful beloved Zebra pens? I don't know. Are they going to smell like Sharpies? I don't think so.
Probably not.
Okay, so let's first talk about the difference between the standard, I'm going to call them the standard highlighter pen. That's these guys right here, compared to the brush pens. And I don't have all of them out yet. I have a couple packages that I get to put into my set as we're swatching them. These over here, in case you're wondering, are additional Zebra products, but they're not part of the Mildliner line, so we're not even going to talk about these guys over here. They're just for me, for convenience, having all my Zebra products in one case. Okay, so let's take a look at a brush pen versus, let's see if I can find the same color right here, versus the highlighter. So they both look very similar. Now you're going to see little pieces of washi tape on my pens. That's to help me sort out and understand which set each of these come in. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. So just ignore the little washi tape stripes for now. Okay, so as far as a standard highlighter pen, this is what it looks like. This one was made in Japan, and we have a little fun puzzle that we get to enjoy, that some of the Mildliner pens are being produced in Japan currently, and some of them are being produced in Mexico currently. So depending on whether you get them from the Japan side or the Mexican side, it will change what you see on the pen. So this pen is from the Japan side, we can tell, because look at all that Japanese writing on there. And the only way to find the color name of this pen is to look right, let me make sure I'm pointing right there. You see that little MR? That means it's a Mildliner red color. That's what I have in my hand. Now, if you look at the new Mexican variety, let's see, that's this guy right here. It has lots of English, and is that French? The double point? I think that's French. Yeah, I think that's French. Is that the word bold in English? And then in French, I think. That's my best guess. And then over here on the back, you can see the color names are written right here, so it's a lot easier. So if you can buy the ones from Mexico, it's going to be a little bit easier for you. Okay, I'll slide this back in.
Do you know
here.
if are they making all the colors, all 35 colors in Mexico?
I don't know that. I know that there's one color that they're not making in Japan that they are making in Mexico, and that's the new copper color.
Oh, that's right.
So there is some stuff going on that can't happen in Japan that is happening in Mexico. So our swatch chart is going to help you regardless of whether you're purchasing these from Mexico, from the Mexican manufacturer or from the Japanese manufacturer. It doesn't matter. The swatch chart's going to help make everything into logical sense. Now when we take the cap off, on this end we have a beautiful chisel tip, which I'm excited to compare this chisel tip to the Sharpie one. And then on the other end we have a fine bullet point tip to help us with our little writing that we do with these pens, and the thin lines, like if you're working in your Bible, this will work really well for that. Okay, now if we look at the brush style, we have a very similar layout. You look here, this is a Japanese, but it still says bold on this end, fine on this end. This one says brush on this end, fine on this end, and we have a clear cap so we can see that nib through the clear cap. And that's what the brush nib looks like. We're going to play around with that. I don't think Sharpie's making a brush nib yet. They're only making the chisel and the bullet nib. And then on this side here is another beautiful bullet tip. So this one is really geared towards people who like to do lettering, and we're going to play around with that a little bit. Plus that brush nib makes great for coloring and nice wide strokes compared to the chisel nib. So I kind of see a need for both types, and that's why I'm collecting both styles. Okay, we'll tuck the red back in here. Keep these in order, and yes, we do have them in an order for you with our new chart, so they'll be in color order. There's two ways that we could have done this. So there's two ways to collect the Zebra Mildliners. One is just go for all the colors. There's variety packs, and some of the variety packs have some chisel and some brush nib mixed into one pack. So that's one way to collect them. The other way is in these 5 packs, and each of these 5 packs have a name. Let me show you right here. This says it's a friendly mild set. This is the friendly set, and this is the I can't remember, the refresh and mild set. So these are the 2 brand new sets for the brush nibs that I didn't have 3 years ago. So I'm excited to put these in. So originally they only had, I can't remember how many colors. It would be just 15 colors. Yeah, 15 colors, and now they're up to 25 in the brush, and they're up to 35 in the double-ended highlighter pens. So when you look at this chart here, we have them ordered in color order according to the color wheel, but they also, we've included the little FL and a little GE. Let me show you. So FL refers to fluorescent, and there's a key over here so that you can see what all of those little abbreviations are talking about. So the GE set, you come over here and look it up. That's the gentle set, which is one of the new sets, and it's the mild sherbet yellow. And then there's some letters. The MSY, those refer to the those refer to the pens being made in Japan, because they don't say sherbet yellow on it. They'll say MSY, but it's the same ink. Okay, so if you're like me and you've been collecting for a while, you're going to have a mix, some coming from Japan and some coming from Mexico, and it's okay. like my full set syndrome, OCD kicks in, and I want all of them either from Mexico
all of them.
or I want all of them from Japan. That doesn't matter. The inks are the same. The bodies of the pens are the same except for the writing on it. And all you need is the codes to decipher everything. And that's why you need this swatch chart, because we did all the work, all the research.
That is so confusing.
It's very confusing. But all you need to know is that they come in 5 packs with cute names like Refresh, and or you can get them in bigger packs, and that's why having a chart like this is going to help you understand where the holes are, which set do you need to, do I need to buy the fluorescent set to satisfy my full set syndrome? That's what this chart's going to give you. So Steve, thank you for helping me make this chart.
You're welcome.
Oh wow. Okay, so we know now about the highlighters versus the brush pens, and now I'm going to fill out my swatch chart so we can see all the colors available in the zebra lines, and then we'll get out the Sharpies and see if they compare at all to the highlighter ones. Not the brush, because that's not the same, but to the highlighter. If you're confused at this point, give me a thumbs up. Because can you imagine? Can you imagine all that we've gone through to get it to this one chart, to try to say like 10 different things on one chart?
Yeah.
It's awesome. Okay, let's start swatching. All right, we have all the highlighters swatched now. Look at the beautiful array of colors. I think the only color we felt like they were kind of lost in is the greens, right?
Yeah.
We felt like there was good yellow greens, but not a really good, because this is more of a blue green, and then these are more of a yellow green, so there's no real good green.
Yeah.
That's about it. Other than that, there's a little bit of everything here, which is really kind of cool. There's even some skin tone type colors that you can do from the new set, the neutral set that they released. So it's really cool. They've got a little of everything. Now, all the colors up here, there's 25 of these 35 that are in the brush pens. So now we'll swatch these and we'll see how we feel about the color balance in the brush pen section. Okay, we're swatching the brush pens, and I wanted to show you one that is having an issue. Now, I believe this is called desalinization, and I did a video years ago here on this channel about how our markers sometimes get this gunk on it. So it's a little it's upsetting that a brand new marker has it on it, but it's not anything, it's not like mold, it's not going to hurt you. You can just wipe it off and keep using the marker. So that's one, just wanted to show you what I found on my poor little apricot brush pen. All right, we have all the brush pens now all swatched and all put in my book. Thank you, Steve, for your help.
You're welcome.
So when I look over this, we're missing the NE, which is the neutral set, and we're missing the GE, which is the gentle set, which I think has like some pastel type colors. So this is more mid-range color, like good medium colors. When you're trying to build a light, medium, and dark, this is a really good medium color set here. And it was, you know, this one it took 3 or 4 stripes with the chisel tip, and this one was 2 quick, broad strips with the brush nib, so it went really fast and easy. Lots of fun. So the next step I want to do is open up our Sharpie package and see what we have here. I only bought the 8 pen set, but there are a lot of colors available in the Sharpie world. So let's talk about that just really quick. There's a 36 pack is the biggest pack I saw, and it's only $20.66 right now. That puts the Sharpie markers a lot less money per pen, because the Zebra highlighters in a 15 pack I found a 25 pack was the biggest pack, and they were coming in at about $1.08 per pen for the zebras, where these ones are consistently less money. They're 57 cents or 76 cents per pen, depending on the size of pack that you get. And there are 36 colors, so it's about the same number of colors. This one, they only have 35 colors, so they're really right in there competing. Of course, they don't have any brush tip pens yet. This is what the packaging looks like for Sharpie for the 8-pack. Pretty standard Sharpie packaging, and let's crack into these and see what they look like. Steve, will you please get me 2 or 3 Sharpie, no, Zebra Mildliners, thank you.
Do you want the brush tip or the chisel?
The chisel, please.
Chisels aren't brush
because
tip.
we're going to be comparing to Sharpie. Right off, I can tell the Sharpie body is different shaped, a little bit chunkier. So let's see.
So let's do.
Okay, so here is, yeah, you can see straight down that the cap is bigger, a little bit more chunky than the zebra line, but it's the same overall design. White body with the color cap, and the bottom end of the Sharpie has a color indicator, which I think is really nice because that would help you get the right cap back onto the right marker or the right pen. So if we take the cap off, this is what we have here. It posts on the back, which is good. Let's double check that these post, oh, these post way better. Way better. Okay, let's look at the size of the chisel. We have a difference here. There is a difference. Can you see how much bigger the zebra one is? The brighter orange one is quite a bit bigger. We'll do some streaks with it here in just a second. Okay, the zebra has a very satisfying click when you put the lid on, which is really important because you got to make sure your caps are on tight so that you don't dry out your markers. See, nice. Mm-hmm. Let's see what the Sharpie does. Not nearly as satisfying. Okay, now the back end should be where our bullet tip is. That was really hard to get off, and oh my goodness, that's a weird bullet tip. Does this stack on the back end? Yes, it does. Well done, Sharpie. Let's see if this one stacks. Yes, and it clicks on. I think overall so far I'm liking the zebra body better, the construction of the body, and look how different those two nibs are. One comes, the zebra one comes to a nice point, and this one's almost a round
Interesting.
nib. So we'll try and see what they do when we draw them. Let's listen for a click on the Sharpie. Good. And a click here on the zebra. Much better. So yeah, I just like the way that they have built the Mildliner pens better than this one. As far as performance goes, that's what we need to see next, right? These are my colors here, and there are no color names on these pens, ladies and gentlemen. That's a real no-no in my book. They should have known better on that. Sharpie hasn't put names on their standard alcohol markers either, at least the majority of them. There's a few. We're not going to go into that right now. That's for another video. Make sure you subscribe because we have Sharpie content coming your way. Okay, so I'm really disappointed that they don't have color names, especially if you had a big 36 pack. Keeping track of which ones you're coloring with is going to be tricky, and knowing what to replace, and yeah, well, that's a little disappointing. Let me grab a piece of cardstock and let's see how these guys work. We'll use the orange since we have an orange Mildliner here, and we'll start with Mildliner. And I'm going to do, let's write the word Mildliner on here. Okay, and we'll use the, make it big block letters. Mildliner, so this is the zebra. Okay, that's how those block letters look. And then if we do a straight line, do a couple of them. The chisel nib will also, if you rotate it, you get a thinner line. Okay, so that's all chisel. And then if we switch it over to the bullet nib, we can do a much thinner line. That's about as thin as it will get. And you can hold on the side as well and get another streak of color. So that's how the Mildliners work. Let's try Sharpie S-Note now. I'll write S-Note. Again, using the, oh, these feel very different. Almost more slippery. S-Note. Okay, that's how they look when you do some block lettering. And we'll do 2 streaks with the chisel side and see how thin the chisel side can go. Good. Now I'm really curious about their bullet nib, how they're going to cooperate here. So we'll just do, oh, that's the thin line. I'll try to do as thin as possible. Good, and then hold it on its side. You don't really get much of a difference because of the round shape of their bullet nib. Okay, so those are the 2. I wanted to see side by side here real quick. I do 1 line with the Mildliner and 1 line here. This is a mushier nib. That's what it is. It's slicker and it's mushier.
Huh.
So although it looked smaller when we were looking at the 2 nibs side by side, they're drawing out the same. Don't you think they look about the same widths?
Yeah. Because
the nib itself on the S-Note is mushier compared to the Mildliner, which is much more rigid chisel. And I think that's why we were getting straighter, more precise lines going on in the lettering as well. Very interesting. Steve, will you grab me a brush nib from the Mildliner real quick? Maybe get the orange one since we're working with orange. Is that what we have here? Apricot.
That one?
I think so. Oh, and that happens to be the one with the gunk on it. So grab me a different one. I just want to show you how you can do different lettering with the Mildliner brush pens. This is the marigold color. Now, don't judge me by my lettering. I'm still a learner when it comes to lettering. So if we do Mildliner, we'll do it in block letters again. Mild. Liner. See how easy it is to make yourself look like a fancy letterer? So the way I did that was holding my pen on its side, like at maybe, what would you say, is that a 36-degree angle?
And a half.
A 36.5 degree angle up from the parallel here. I'm up about 36.5 degrees, and that's how you get this shape of liner. I'm not even going to try cursive. I'm still learning my cursive, you guys. I had to go back and relearn cursive. I've been working on it for a couple years now, but really intently working on it for the last 3 months. So soon I'll be so good and I'll do some lettering tutorials for you. But right now I'm still a beginner, so. Okay, so that is how the different pens perform. One of the things that they all talk about is that you can use them on thin paper and it's not going to bleed through the back side of the paper. And I don't believe it, so we're going to test it.
Okay.
I just don't believe it. I think they're a water-based pen. There's just no way it's not going to bleed through. So I have here a very thin piece of lined paper. You can see how thin it is. You can see through it. So let's see if we we'll do the brush pen first. And what if you went back and did 2? Okay, that's a good test. 1 quick streak. So this is like if you're working in a really thin notebook, or maybe, oops, sorry, I did that wrong. Maybe you're working in a Bible and you want the ink to stay on just one side. Can you do that? So that's the Zebra brush tip. Here is the Zebra Mildliner. I'll just do 1 line, and then I'll do 2 lines with a little overlap, and we'll see if that bleeds through. And then here is Sharpie, the Sharpie S-Note. 1 line. Oh, it just feels so different. I don't know how I feel about them. 2 lines. Okay. You ready? Turn it over. Drum roll. Well, I think the Mildliners did a little bit better. There's a little ghosting. They call this ghosting, when you can see some of it, but it's not exactly bled through to the next side.
Yeah.
So none of them bled through. I think the Sharpie ones have a little bit more ghosting than the Mildliner Zebra pens.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised how well the Mildliners did.
Yeah, I'm surprised too.
Huh.
Okay, next thing I wanted to do, which I didn't do, was swatch out all the colors here for the S-Notes. I'll just do that right here, and I'll be right back. Okay, here's all 8 colors of the Sharpie S-Note that I've purchased. Like I said, there's a 36 pack, so that would be really interesting, and I must admit my full set syndrome is kicking in, but I'm going to resist because overall I like the feel and the performance so far of the Mildliners, and I have that full set, so I can let this set go.
Wow, okay.
That's my so far opinion. There's one more test I wanted to do, and both of them talk about being water resistant once dry. And the reason this is important is if you are a mixed media type artist working with watercolor and these pens, you would want to make sure that these pens stay put once they're dry, and not reactivate when you hit it with some watercolor. That's why this is important. Will you please hand me that brush and the water, and we'll just check right here on these. So what I'm looking for, I'm not looking for 100% waterproof. I just don't want a lot of it to move if I put water on it. So I'm not going to be overly picky about this, but it is something they talk about, so we're going to test it. So here we go on the Mildliner. I'm going to just kind of scruffle around on it, and then we'll let it dry, but I didn't see anything move except maybe a bristle off of my brush.
Nice.
Okay, now we'll do the S-Note by Sharpie and see if they have the same result. Just kind of scruffle around on it. Ooh, that is changing, but it didn't bleed. Both of them changed a little bit. Let me bring it up to camera a little bit. I'm surprised, you guys, that both of them are staying put relatively well. What do you think? Comment below. Do you think they're water resistant? Would you call that water resistant? I would call it water resistant, so that's really cool. Okay, I'm impressed with the S-Note as far as their price point goes. They're about, in some cases, like if you buy the 36 pack, they're only 50 cents per pen if you buy the 36 pack. So they're about half the cost of the big pack of Zebra highlighters, which is 25. But overall, the feel of the pens, the way the bodies were manufactured, the fact that these don't have color names on them, these don't impress me. But they are a dupe for the highlighters, for the Mildliner highlighters. So, yeah. I don't like how confusing Mildliners are when it comes to the Mexican versus Japanese manufacturing. That is really difficult when it comes to creating a chart. But on the other hand, if I had bought the 36 set of the Sharpie S-Notes, there would be no chart. We just use a blank chart because there are no color names on these bodies.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go after collecting a set that has a really high quality body, color names are there, you can get brush nib and chisel nib, and I think I like the bullet nib better on the Mildliners as well, then I think it's worth the extra cost and the extra confusion. I think it's worth it. So I would steer you towards the Mildliner by Zebra instead of the S-Note by Sharpie. Unless you're on a real big budget and you want some fun highlighters that are just nice colors to color with, then maybe go towards the Sharpie. But make sure you're not bugged by the fact that there are no color names. I guess you could name them all yourself and just put washi tape on them and name them all.
And Betty.
Jim and Betty and Vern. That could be a fun project. So in the end, my recommendation is to buy the Zebra Mildliners, both in the chisel and the brush. You need them all. That's just the way it is. I'm going to have Steve put links to as much of this as possible to get you started with your shopping in this new area. So thank you, Steve, again, for making this chart to bring some normalcy to the chaos.
You're welcome. So if you had to choose between the dual tip brush pen or the double ending creative highlighter, right now as it is, which would you choose?
I really love those brush nibs. Oh, I don't know, because I like the block letter, ability to do block letters with the chisel nib.
I know that you like to use these as a base layer.
Yeah.
In which case maybe the brush nib isn't as important.
Well, the brush nib is easy to color with because it has that fine little tip. In fact, I didn't show you that. That's a really good point. With the Mildliner brush nib, you get a much wider stroke with your just pushing it and doing the one stroke. Or you can do like halfway, which is about the width of the Mildliner. Or you can hold it straight up. Yeah, like that. And that's the thinnest of all the lines. And then it has the good bullet nib on the back side for writing, so you can write things, you know, just in your notes. So to choose between the two sets would be difficult because you've got way more colors here. Well, 10. That's way more colors, but you've got some neutrals so that you can do some skin tones over here.
Yeah. And those 10 colors gave you some really nice light colors, those pastels.
So you can do some good combos.
Some nice tints to be able to blend with.
So if I was going to a desert island and I could only either bring this set or this set, I guess I would bring this set because I'd have more colors. But I would miss those brush nibs.
But coloring wouldn't be as enjoyable.
No. Oh, that's a really hard question. I guess, like I said, you need both.
Yeah.
But technically, these colors are duplicates of the colors above, so it's not like you've got a total of 60 colors here. 60? Yeah. Did I do my math right? You still only have 35 colors plus 35 duplicates. You're just going for that brush nib.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a hard question. So comment below, because I had a hard time answering. I don't even know if I answered it. So comment below, if you were to collect only one set, would you do the creative highlighters or would you do the brush pens? Let's have some voting in the comments and find out which set you like. And should we bug Zebra to give us all 35 colors in the brush nibs?
Yes.
Yeah, stop jipping us, Zebra. All right, that was a lot of fun. It was fun to revisit something we did 3 years ago and see where the company has taken that product. And I'm still a fan of the Mildliners. They're still going to be something I reach for and I really enjoy.
Well, and something you didn't mention was that they renamed them as well to make them a little more clear. It seems like they've just done some refining of the brand.
Yeah. Maybe they saw my struggles in 2020 and they thought, we've got to help Jennifer with coloring bliss.
Because I don't think before it said double-ended. and dual tip. And it said marker instead of pen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Another link I'm going to give you is to Zebra's website, where they have their own swatch charts that you can download if you're wanting to collect the pens by pack. It might help you there as well, but this still will help you collect by pack. I still think this is the superior chart right here. It's very good. Thank you, Steve. All right, thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful, colorful, blissful day. Bye-bye. Say bye, Rose. Bye. Thanks for watching.